plenary talk by Dr. S.K. Varshney, and the chairman for this session is Professor R.C. Tiwari, Department of Physics, Mizoram University. Now, I shall pass on the control to Professor R.C. Tiwari. Please,
Thank you, Dr. Shyata. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And without taking the time, let me introduce the speaker. Friends, very good morning. I'm very fortunate that today Dr. Sanjeev K. Varshney is with us. Friends, it's my privilege to introduce the chief guest of this conference and speaker of this plenary talk, Dr. Sanjeev K. Varshney, advisor and head of the International Cooperation Division, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Sir joined DST in 1990 and has since worked in various capacities to facilitate bilateral scientific cooperation of India with partner countries. He has contributed a lot to the promotion of international scientific cooperation as well as scientific industrial cooperation. Presently, sir is Indian co-chair, governing body of the Indo-German Science and Technology Center, member in the board of directors, Global Innovation and Technology Alliance. Sir is also member of the governing councils of Indo-US Endowment Fund, International Advanced Research Center of Powder Metallurgy, and US-India Education Foundation. Thank you, sir, for your kind consent to be part of this conference as chief guest and speaker of this plenary session. We are proud to have you in our midst. And this is not complete. I have to add a few more things about sir, so please stay with me. Sir has initiated his career as a geologist working on shivalic sediments for their diagenetic behavior, became life fellow of Geological Society of India and Royal Nepal Geological Societies. Subsequently, had a stint as lecturer of geology at Kurukshetra, Haryana. Sir joined Department of Science and Technology, Government of India in 1990 to facilitate scientific cooperation of India with several partner countries. Sir has specialties as in the development of scientific cooperation, preparation of intergovernmental documents for scientific cooperation, organization of scientific seminars, symposiums, etc. Sir, we are very fortunate that you are with us, and the kind of responsibilities that you are taking, it is I should say that we are we will be double benefited, and we are so much lucky that you are accepting to be chief guest in our function. Thank you, sir. Now time is yours, sir.
Thank you, Professor Tiwari. Namaskar to everyone. I am very happy to participate in this conference, which is discussing various aspects of materials and industry and physics. And as we know that the material industry has been changing its trend from solutions for sustainability, lightweighting its product, 3D printing, surface engineering, as well as development of intelligent materials, nano formulations, advanced composite, and composite with enhanced characteristics. Of course, widespread adoption of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data management practices, it is all making it quite exciting and challenging. Since I come from Department of Science and Technology and materials is not my field, I would like to not dwell on these topics for which there are several experts who can speak, but I would rather like to concentrate on why one should do research. And I thought that way uh, we can share more information about this practice, how we can make research more interesting and more purposeful. And uh, that is how I can deliberate. I hope my screen is visible to you. Maybe someone can just say a word about that.
Sir, it is visible.
Yeah,
It's visible.
okay, thank you. So my I understand that there are a lot of master and doctoral students in this audience, and our PhD students very often I have found, not 100%, but close to 70%, 80%, who are quite perplexed, who do not know why they are doing PhD. And if you ask them simple question like, what are you doing? So the fellow will tell you, I am working on such and such issue. But why are you working on this? What are the bigger dimension of the issues? How it is helping the nation? In what way it is addressing the need of the society? And we find that our students do not have understanding of those questions. So fellow is merely connected to a research topic through a guide. And this is where I would like to put attention of all of you. And I hope my presentation will help you in understanding how PhD could be more useful. So let us talk first about the current scenario. Why people are doing PhD? You know, they have done graduation, they have done masters, and now they want to have another degree, PhD. But remember, there is a difference between a graduation degree, master degree, and PhD. While in graduation and post-graduation, you are being taught a given syllabus, which you have to qualify. For PhD program, you have to develop your own curriculum. You have to raise your own questions. You have to see how this new knowledge could be of any help. And that is why you should do PhD rather than just obtaining another degree. Another difference is other degree are exam based. Here you have to put logic and bring out a new argument, new knowledge, and new application. Secondly, people are doing PhD because they are waiting for the golden moment. Many a time we feel that students at that age juncture, when they join the PhD program, are having so many priorities. Someone wants to get married, someone wants to get a job, and PhD is not a job. PhD is an assignment actually you are engaged in. So what they do is that once they qualify the examination for JRF, they would join for PhD. And that way they are doing two great injustice. One, they are, because their energy are elsewhere, they are not making good use of the fellowship for the purpose it is given. And secondly, they are blocking the seats. And similarly, like someone is going, whatever be the golden moment for them, they are just waiting. Third thing is they are doing PhD just to secure a future. They know, okay, at least in the academia, I will get a job, if not outside. Hello, are you not getting the presentation?
Sir, yeah, I'm so sorry there was interruption. Someone accidentally turned on their microphone, so I have muted them. Please go ahead,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. So someone is trying to secure future because if I don't become eligible for any other job, at least I become a faculty in some college or a university or a private. So this is another reason why people are doing PhD. And then there are some good reason also. Like someone is curious to know and have new knowledge. They would like to publish and establish themselves as a research worker. That would be the another thing. But then the more important thing would be, if through our research we can solve a challenge, even if it is highly local, district level, state level, or national level, or global level. So if you could contribute to that challenge in solving that, making life easy for people, that PhD would be a good purpose. Here, I've just put a couple of cartoons here that why people are doing research. So someone feels that I have already done something, and some people would say, I would like to do my own search. But the main question is why a researcher should do research if it makes you happy, if it makes you satisfied. If that is not the goal, then I'm afraid that you would be missing a major part of the research fun. So if you are not going for research, what are the other options? You can set up your own business. These days, a lot of things are there. After your master's, you are having adequate knowledge about a particular product process. You can set up your own business, or you can go for a startup company. Government is giving a lot of incentive these days on startup, and my department also gives incentives on technology-based startups. So this is another very interesting idea, that you are not banking on someone else, but you are master of your own destiny. So do a startup, join the industry. You can go and have a safe job. You need to prove yourself, your birth, and you can work in the industry. The underexposed part have been where you can try your thing to be communicator. Today when you read newspaper, when you see television or listen to radio, what kind of news you get? You get political news, you get criminal news, you get sports news, you get economics news. But where are the research news? Where are the development news? And if our research journalists do not wish to take that responsibility, whether as a scientist, we would like to convey, this is very important. Why people are lacking confidence on Indian products? Because they are not aware what kind of science is being done in India. They are not aware, and that is why they are not confident. So if we could tell them what kind of research is being done and how Indian products are at the global level competitive, I'm sure many of us would prefer buying Indian products, just like we are buying groceries. We would buy technology-based products which are from India, and we should feel proud. So communication is something which is very, very strong in demand, and we have launched a couple of programs also to attract scientific communications. We can discuss more about that. But what I'm trying to say, this is one of the emerging area. Next thing is policy. Some people are good in thinking and also foreseeing what it could be after 10 years, what it could be after 20 years, 50 years. And those people would help in developing policies. So there are several policies. Some are broad policies like education policy, science policy. Some are narrow or field specific. So there is a constant requirement of policy making, policy adjustment, policy adaptation, and we require a lot of people to think in given directions how they could conduct themselves. Another interesting field is protection of intellectual property. All of us know how to protect our hard cash or how to protect our land and other things. But how do you protect your IP? These days, whenever a new thing comes into the market, people would just copy it. People would make minor modification over your patent, and your patent would be out of business. So not only patent filing, patent taking the patent grant, and subsequent to taking the patent grant, encashment of that patent, and protection it for any minor modifications. So what we say is surrounding patents. So everything is something which is in a big demand, and I think should excite you for a possible career option. So next question is, who are the researchers? I think there is a misconception that only those who are in faculty or those who are PhD student, MPhil student, they are the researchers. In fact, for me, anybody with a curiosity is a researcher. So if you are curious to know about a particular issue, you are a researcher. I'll give you some very, very vague examples. School students who is looking for a new excuse to his teacher. Why the fellow could not do homework? Why the fellow is late? And every day trying to work out a new reason is a researcher. The chef in our kitchen, mostly our ladies, is a researcher, because every day attempt is to make food more tastier and more nutritious as compared to yesterday. And there is a constant improvement. They are researchers. The farmer, when growing a crop, is trying to see how to mitigate impacts of vagaries of weather and climate, how to reduce load of pesticides, insecticides, how to make better yield, how to make grains more full. So they are researchers because they're constantly curious to know something and also implementing it in the action. So that is their lab, that is where they are doing. And so I'm using a quote that experience is one thing you can not get for nothing. So you have to work for it and earn it. And if at first you don't succeed, search again. And that is why it is called research. Because every time you are not supposed to be succeeding. There may be some time when you need more attempts, more efforts. So if you have protected yourself, then probably you are not doing research. You need to uncover yourself. You need to work out. And this is how you can do some more science. In this picture, I have tried to give you two examples. One of standing water and another is of flowing water. Now, what is happening that the water which is standing has become stale. A lot of algal growth has come. And that is what happens if we do not improve ourselves, if we do not keep on moving. The water, on the other hand, is fresh. So we have to see, are we allowing ourselves to become stale, out of context, non-usable, or we are going to move with time, we are moving forward. And research is a continuous race. It is to be competitive. I'm not sure if how many of you would have seen Three Idiots, where there is a dialogue that even to take birth on this place, you need to compete. And today, when we are doing market-oriented research, we need to make sure that we are on time, we are economical, and we are competing with globally available society, company, industries, whatever. So we need to compete. So if you are not competing, you may lose the battle. There are several examples, be it Kodak films. They were a very huge company, Kodak and Kodak films, but somehow they did not go for digital photography. And that is where Kodak lost. Nokia, one of the first company to produce mobile, they lost market because they didn't go for smartphones. Then several examples, our own HMT watches, ambassador cars, where they have gone. Ambassador car, can you imagine? They did not change their model for umpteen number of times. Just 1 minute. अभी उनको बोलो, अभी मैं एक मीटिंग में कोई फोन मत देना आधा घंटा. So our own ambassador car, they did not change any model for 20 years, 30 years, and single model was running on the Indian roads along with Premier Padmini. They did not change, and eventually they have to go to out of market. Today, the cars industry on Indian roads are changing their models every year, just because they want to give you a better product at a more competitive. So challenges are everywhere. It's not that you have reached one milestone and that's the end of the challenge. Challenges are perennial and they keep on coming, and we need to be ready for each and every challenge. And challenge could be as strong as the current pandemic. You are suddenly brought into a phase of uncertainty. And I think all of you would have gone through how you have passed your last couple of years, how you have taken education, a lot of readjustment. So COVID does not mean that we were doing work only on medicinal aspects. Even in education sector, or in fact, all sectors. So economic people are doing their research that how to adjust themselves to this sudden uncertainty. And academics, each college was trying how they will make they will communicate to their students. So they were using different platforms. With the process of time, people started adjusting, and now if I could say that they identified, okay, this college will go on this platform, this college will go on this platform, we will use this social media. So people have started adapting. And today, when we are fortunately moving away from the COVID crisis, we are now going to live in a new world where travel may not be necessary. Like today, I am speaking to you. Normally, before COVID crisis, I would have been in the Aizol and I would have been speaking with you in person. But today, from the comfort of my office, I could speak to you. This is all because it is not that this technology was not available before the crisis, but the way it is being used now, it was not there. So earlier we used to say, in each school, each department, there are a couple of smart classes. Today, everybody is having smart classes. So what I'm trying to tell you is uncertainty, the factor of uncertainty which we have learned through this crisis has helped us in doing other things. Now, if I could come to the next question, that what do I mean by research? Then primarily, research means that I am looking for new information, new understanding, and deciding new facts. And it may be or it may not be, but it would be nice if it could be used to solve problems and definitely increase our knowledge which is available. And then we are making test of theories, making observations. It also helps us to be systematic, organized, and objective. We know for what we are doing research, in what way we are going to do research. So the process of learning, process is important, and this is what research help us. And it could have several targets. So what is the broad question I'm going to answer, how I'm going to do it, what are the quantitative aspects, what are the qualitative aspects, how it is going to be replicated, what are the examples. So there are several questions one could think of. Now, the challenges being faced, this is my observation, you may have some different opinion also. First is that our students are suddenly thrown into PhD, and they come with a classroom mind after doing their masters, and unfortunately there is no systematic orientation. Of course, several universities run 6-month course, but how much they are being trained to do scientific experiments in holistic manner, so that training, that rigorous part of the training is missing. And it is once more that coursework which we are doing is more, in fact, theoretical rather than practical. And I wish our students are exposed to the challenges, and someone from the faculty is available to them round the clock in the initial part of the. Other thing is financials. Not only the fellow has to qualify some examinations, after which fellow may get fellowship, but there may be other opportunities, but those regularity of that is an issue, and we need to see how we can correct. Very often we feel that communication with guide or mentor is very limited. It could be daily 5 minutes, it could be half an hour in a week, it could be 1 hour in a month, and that is not adequate. In fact, there should be a regular communications. Whenever student has any issue, fellow should be able to address it to his guide, mentor, and take feedback, take suggestion how to come over that. And if it requires discussion, be prepared for the discussions. So these are, other thing is managing time. Sometimes you can do PhD in 1.5 years. Some university permits that. Sometimes you take 5 years, 6 years. And sometimes you are doing PhD only to utilize the research fellowship, which is whatever period you have been given. I think we need to learn time management. If we are clear why we are doing PhD, what are our challenges, what are our approach roads, how we are going to report, then we can do the management. And this management again needs to be divided. This time management again needs to be divided. How much time you are going to give for the studies, how many time you are going for experiments, how much time you are going to go for discussions, that okay, today I have done this thing, what are the examples, how I will talk to my mentor, how I will tell this. So all these things need to be planned. And another thing is, how do we wriggle out our students out of the stress they have got? Stress could be a variety of a lot of reasons why there is a stress. Stress could be academic loads or deliverables by a particular time. It could be stress because of financial reasons, or relationship with the fellow labmate. I think we need to understand what are the stresses being played on the students and how they could come out. And sixth thing is lack of confidence. Many mentors or guide make sure that they are supreme. Of course they are. They are better than the student. They have seen better world. They have more experience. But allow the student to gain more confidence, so that fellow has enough guts to say his or her feeling, her observations, and argue it. And as a mentor, you are expected to return back the argument. You have to see if it is acceptable or not acceptable. If it is not acceptable, you have to give reasons. You try to make it more logical, but help the student in gaining the confidence. Next, this is a major challenge. I think it's not only with PhD student, but also with the faculty, that if I have to buy something from outside, several times university has got a regular vendor which supplies the regular item. But if you have to buy an equipment, then there are several lengthy processes. There is a purchase sections which makes the purchases, and then there are process that if the equipment costs X amount, then this is the process. This is, and then if it crosses, then there would be national tender or global tender. Process is quite lengthy, and this deprive you from the work. And because students are in the lab for a particular period, and they cannot make infinite wait for the equipment. So if this process eased out, probably it will help. First, and then another thing is our libraries. Sometimes our libraries are very useful, but sometimes getting desired pages of a journal are impossible, difficult, because universities or college have not subscribed to that journal. So how are we going to address this issue, that at least whatever is published should be available to the student? So it's a kind of right. I wish our students are having that right, that whatever is published should be known to them, and they should have access to that knowledge. So whether they are studying in IIT, ISC, or they are studying in state universities or private universities, right to publish knowledge should be with everyone. And then, of course, there are several issues, but most important one is ethics. I think as a faculty, we could guide research students. What are the research ethics? What are doable, what are not doable? And then, of course, when you are going for any subjects like bioethics, subject-related ethics are also there. So we need to make good case that our researchers, young researchers, are aware of the modern research practices and the challenges associated with this. And one of the purpose of PhD should be that if the fellow desires to develop career as an independent researcher, he or she should be knowing what are the career prospects. If I have to go for project, then who will fund it, from where I will get it, how do I publish my information? So all those issues must be very clear. So now I'm just coming to another area that researchers have got a lot of ideas, and we need to nurture them and take them forward. Research must have a purpose. So either it is generation of knowledge or application. And I'm just giving you some vague examples where research could be of use. Now, see, this is a picture taken from Kumbh Mela. Now, all of us are quite familiar of the size and magnitude of the Kumbh Mela. And I'm very happy to tell you that over the years, with the applications of latest technologies like artificial intelligence, we have learned how we could manage such a crowd. And fortunately, in last several years, whenever Kumbh Mela is being organized, number of accidents have significantly reduced. But this is only when we are organized. During the pandemic time, I think there were several cases when people were aware that they need not to be together or they need not to be close, but still we were unable to manage crowd, especially outside liquor shops, outside the shopping malls, lot of clouds were there, and we were really vulnerable at this stage. But my idea to tell you this thing is we can do it. We have the capability. We have been doing it, and we can improve it in time to come. Now, some of the research challenges, what we could do is food. Food, is a very, very sensitive item. We are a country of 1.3 billion people, and our population is growing. And we need to make sure that there is food for everybody. Now, what is happening if we see the practicality that we are going through the process of industrialization. And where is industrialization coming up? On agricultural land. And who are coming? The people who were earlier engaged in agriculture, they are now coming here as a worker. So it may be idea of 1 or 2%, but the main workers are. So we are losing agricultural land, we are losing agricultural people, and we are having increased population. So we have to feed more number of people in time to come. So we need to do research how we are going to do it, how we are going to increase yield per hectare, how we are going to reduce losses, post-harvest losses of our crops, how we are going to do better food distribution management. There are a lot of not only scientific but also sociological impacts that food should reach everyone. Another major area, of course, pandemic has again re-emphasized this, is affordable healthcare. India is home to 5-star hospitals. We get a lot of medical tourists from US, Canada, Europe, and several developed countries. But for our own common citizen, those hospitals are unaffordable. And we need to provide them solutions which are affordable. Fortunately, the vaccination drive in our country has been free, but in Europe or America, it is all paid, and it is coming at a huge price. I think had it been priced, then still we would have been struggling to get the kind of numbers vaccinated. But vaccination is one thing. What about other illness? Be it AIDS, tuberculosis, cancer, heart diseases, nervous system diseases. So all of them are quite expensive. And we need to work out how we could provide those solutions. Now here, I'm not expecting only the doctors or clinicians or pharmacologists to come. I'm also expecting engineers to work. I'm also expecting social organization to work. Because there are several aspects of healthcare which need to be taken care of. India is one of the energy deficient country. I think today you are discussing materials and physics, this becomes more relevant. That how do we meet requirement of the energy? And today, when we have realized that our traditional source of energy, thermal or hydrological, is not adequate, we need to go for alternate sources. And alternate sources could be solar energy, wind energy, nuclear energy. And we need to see what are the safe options. Today, nuclear energy is not considered as a safe option, especially after Fukushima accident. And now a lot of stress is on the clean, safe energy generation. And we are putting a lot of interest on solar energy programs, wind energy program, tidal energy program. And here the challenge is for you people, those who are working in materials, those who are working in physics, how to make these things more efficient, how energy flow could be in either way, where people could produce electricity at home and give it to the grid, and whenever they need it, they can take it from the grid. How to integrate various kind of energy, where we will be storing them. So there are several questions which needs to be answered. Another major challenge is water. We know water is everywhere, but then water is nowhere. And the kind of pollution it has got has made it very difficult. If we see the fresh water, we get very little fresh water, and whatever fresh water is available, 70% of that is used in irrigation. So we must optimize the remaining water. And today, what is happening that because of marketing forces, we are thoroughly confused and we are treating water at home even though it has been treated at the municipal level. So earlier we were saying that if it is supplied by the municipality, then the water is safe. You can use it. But today we are not sure. So at home also we are doing it. Question is whether water is available everywhere. No. There are places where water is not available, or water is not usable for personal use like drinking, food making, those things, because it is highly saline. So, and then somewhere it is not usable because it is polluted. It is polluted with chemicals, it is polluted with microbes, and it could gift us some diseases. So we need to see how to make water available, how to remove pollutants, how to provide easy solutions and win confidence of the people. So now, next area where we are improving upon is navigation. So now transportation has become very, very subject of interest. We are now looking for smart transportation, be it road transportation, air transportation, train transportation, or ship-based transportation. And today, with the applications of newer technology, mainly artificial intelligence, we are in a much better position. But ground implementation has to be. And we need to see how we can make best use of this thing. So there are several emerging technologies, and each of those technologies has something or the other to offer, and we need to see how we can make best use of it. Now, how we can make the research more exciting. A healthy rivalry always helps. I remember when I was a PhD student, there used to be a wall in our department where only limited number of papers would have been showcased. And normal routine is that whenever any lab comes out with a publication, they will put it there and remove one of those who was published earlier. So you need to see your lab, how much area it is occupying on that wall. So it's a kind of rivalry you are creating within the groups in the departments, and that helps in development of research. And then very often when we are doing research, on the midway, we get a newer path, a newer challenges. And this helps us in taking up a lot of new work. And we should always be open. We should not be rigid in our approach. And if some new question has come, we should try to work it out. Ethics, as I said earlier, remains the most important part. And I think each one of us must be very clear that what are the issues related with ethics. And then research do not complete with only development of a product or of a solution. We need to brand it. We need to make it sure that when we are going to the market, then we are known. Suppose you ask for a burger, then only McDonald's should emerge. When you are trying to listen to music, only YouTube should emerge. So those kind of branding has to be done. And what research can give? Research can be a tool to build knowledge and facilitate learning. It access to the latest information. It means to understand issues and increase public awareness, help us in succeeding business, improving it, to disapprove lies and support truth. We need to constantly do it. to find, gauge, and seize opportunities, to promote love of and confidence in reading, writing, analyzing, sharing valuable information. And of course, it helps us in personality development. When you are sharing your research with a wider audience, it can make you more visible in a given field. And the greater visibility enhance your reputation, impact, which is increasingly important if you are seeking support from outside, and you could be considered as a responsible worker in a given field or domain. I would like to end that PhD journey is not a competition to see who is fastest to finish. The highest write-up on impact paper, the easiest way to do things, having Viva with no corrections. PhD journey is your journey with your research. Enjoy it, make best out of it. I work for Department of Science and Technology, and we are supporting several kind of fellowships, JRF and SRF being most popular. We help you in presenting your work in international conferences, seminars, symposium, and we are also providing short-term fellowship while pursuing doctoral work to go abroad. We are supporting postdoctoral research. We are providing early career research grants. So if you are joined as a faculty, then you can apply to the department. And of course, you can write to me. And I have also added two websites of SERB and TDB, Technology Development Board. And I would be happy to take few questions now also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wide spectrum talk. And it is going to be a highly motivational talk, I'm very sure. And especially the young researchers are going to get benefit of it. And you very, in a concise but very, very important issues you have already raised. And especially like our human resource is not ready to work. That is one of our biggest problem. Have degree but not ready to work compared to other countries or other, like those who are developed. And sir, you also mentioned the Fukushima accident case. Actually, a disaster of such a mega scale. I got chance in 2014 to attend this meeting in IAEA Vienna. So it is really so horrible thing. And at the same time, we found that there is a difficulty in sharing of the data between the countries. That was also one of the things. And sir, the most important thing which I found in your talk, and which is in the lines of DST, because DST is one of the leading and one of the quick agency, I could say, because working with getting the research projects with different agencies, that is my experience that DST is dispensing things very quickly. And the most important thing which the DST projects require, that is the application side. If there is an application of the work, of the outcome, then it is very much welcome. So thank you so much, sir. So not taking much time, now I will invite audience to have questions, if any, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Vasne.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for your insightful information about the researchers and all the projects. I'm a PhD student, and if I want to go abroad for a few months for collaborative work, what is the process to avail for the fellowship and all from the DST?
There are several kind of opportunities, and you have to see what is the best one meeting your requirement. One is DST, DBT, Art Sciences. We are giving projects of bilateral, multilateral character to the faculty of various institutes. So if you are working in an institute where any faculty has got that project, you have a chance to go for a period which is mutually agreed between Indian and the foreign partners for work. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, whatever period is agreed. And sometimes repetitive. Repetitive means that you can make use of that time each year. So that is a long-term arrangement, normally good for 3 to 5 years. Second possibility is that our Ministry of Education has a scholarship cell. So you could apply and seek scholarship. So they have some few countries with whom they have that arrangement. And you can see the cycle also in which they are inviting proposals. Then department, DST is providing exposure trip to Inspire Fellows, KVPY Fellows, and sometimes we are inviting even through newspaper. For example, meeting with Nobel laureate at Lindau. So each year we are organizing and sending our scientists, young researchers to Lindau for meeting with Nobel laureate. So idea is you have to see what are the opportunities and how it is. Also, I would recommend that several European countries and even American countries are having a scholarship both at doctoral and postdoctoral level. So you can check with their embassies here. Each embassy has got education or science officer. So you can check with them if there are any arrangements, some fellowships, some scholarship available to our student on this particular aspect. So these are regular things. Of course, I have been putting on social media also, my social media, of various schemes which are made available. But in general, you will find that there are some arrangements with all the countries you can think of. Only thing is you need to see what is the cycle when they are inviting next and which is the scheme that suits you most. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Any more audience want to ask or want to interact to our chief guest, sir?
I'd like to ask questions.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I got a few questions. I got some few questions. So my first question is that, sir, why is C.V. Raman only the Indian physicist to win Nobel Prize in physics? I mean, aren't there any Indian physicists who could win Nobel Prize in physics, sir? Is there any problem that physicists are facing in India, sir? And
no, let me answer one by one because otherwise it would be difficult. You know, this is a question being asked by many of us. But one thing I can tell you, no government can order Nobel Prize to its citizen. In fact, individual have to want it. You have to accept. And what my observation has been, if your science is helping the mankind in whatever way, in general, you have a chance. We have several potential researchers in this country who have been nominated, but then nomination and the merit of the work are not the only criteria. This committee takes into consideration some criteria also. There are some acquisition, I don't attribute to them, fully subscribe them, that they are biased for the Western researchers. And several times, for example, Bose couldn't get it, Marconi could get it for the same work. So there are variety of reasons why Nobel Prize is given. So we should not complain about that. What I would suggest you, that you should work for the service of the society. And if your research is doing any good, you will get some prizes, not Nobel Prize, some other prizes. And if your work is recognized at global level, then obviously you stand a chance. So I would like to see Mr. Wang Chang getting a prize, Nobel Prize someday. Carry that ambition and do it.
sir, do you think that the bureaucracy and the political system in India is somehow a kind of a roadblock to the development of scientific education and research, sir? Or is it helpful for us researchers?
I think we may have a different opinion. I represent the government, you represent the student community or research community. As a government officer, I would like to say that we are one of the least bureaucratic departments. Dr. Tiwari also mentioned it a little ago about DST, his experience with DST. In fact, scientific department, there is a lot of encouragement. Only thing is you should have a good idea. And if your idea is good, doable, we would love to support. Of course, there are certain bureaucratic processes. We need to go through our finances. Sometimes it takes time, but we would try to resolve it as early as possible, as long as documentation is proper and to their requirement. And I'm sure we are one of the fastest system. We would like to announce results of any call within 6 months. That is how we are trying to do it.
Sir, my third question is that although we have experienced great developments and innovations in the defense and research industries in India, but as compared to some developed countries such as United States, France, United Kingdom, or China or Russia, sir, I think that in terms of defense technology and tech, I think we're a bit behind them. Sir, what is the reason?
I'll give you some numbers. India is doing a lot of scientific publication. In fact, we are number 3 if we go by the NSF data, and number 5 if we go by Scopus data. So that is how our number of publications are coming. We are number 3 in terms of scientific workforce. We are number 9 in terms of patents we are finding. We are constantly improving in terms of global innovation index. But where is the problem? Problem is, despite making number of publications, filing number of patents, we have issues in both of them. Our papers are not having impact. Citation is poor. Okay, they are not relevant. So if they are not relevant to the social issues, to the market issues, how we are going to help them? Are we banking only on what is proven in the West and we would like to replicate here? Or would like to develop and nurture our own thinking, our own orientation? That is a problem. Same problems comes with patent. Unfortunately, over last 50 years, 60 years, our faculty has been told that whatever research they are doing, they must publish. Publishing is good, but publishing is not everything. Because in last 10 years, 20 years, we have come up with the concept, we must protect our IP. That is very important. We must file a patent, whatever product we are developing. And again, what is happening, that some of us are filing patent, but we do not have enough opportunity to wait till it is granted. And those who are granted, they do not know how to encash it, how to license it. Because a professor feels that my domain is my domain. Marketing is someone else's domain. But it is his IP or her IP. They need to sell it. Okay. So in nutshell, I would like to say to your questions that we need to make our research more relevant to the issues being faced by us. And we need to protect our IP in a way that we could go for commercialization. So that is why government is promoting now a lot of technology startups. And I would invite you to join those tech startups, take up as an independent career. Fantastic option. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So any more student? Because students are encouraged more to ask questions. So at
Hello,
least
sir.
one question can be taken. Only one, please.
So recently there was a news that DST was about to open their own lab. like Research Institute lab.
No, I couldn't get it. Can you repeat it?
Sir, DST was about to establish its own research institute lab. So, uh, how many institutes are going to get it?
No, DST has 28 of our own research institutions spread across the country. So I don't know if that was your question.
Yeah, and DST is helping so many institutions to have their own instrumentation center and so on. Lot of
Oh
help
yes,
is
oh yes.
available.
We are providing research grants for infrastructure development also across the country. So that is irrespective of the parentage, whether institute belongs to DST or not. So any institution, mostly academics, we are supporting for that purpose.
Yeah, and for the benefit of the person who asked, no, like departmental level support, school level support, university level support, so many levels of support are there open from the DST. So once again, thank you so much, sir, for interacting our students especially, and it has been a lot of information has come out with this discussion, and thank you once again, sir.
My pleasure. And if any of your student wants to have any questions, I can write my email in the chat box. I would be too happy to answer their questions.
Sir, if our chairman, sir, permits, I would like to make a few points from the
please
organizers.
go ahead. Yeah, please.
So my name is Dr. Arshia Zwala, one of the conveners of this conference. So on behalf of the organizers, we are so grateful, and I would like to once again thank our plenary speakers, Dr. S.K. Varshney. And here, some of our postgraduate students are also here with us in our research laboratory. And some of our students who are not within Aizawl city, as we all know, during this pandemic, we are having classes from all over the places. So we are attending classes from all over the places. So not all of them could attend it in the college, but here many of our students have joined this session. I'm sure we all benefit from it. As a teacher and as a PhD student counselor or supervisor, there are so many issues that have been highlighted by our chief guest, and I think I too really benefits from his perspective also that he shared with us. So I think our PhD scholars as well as our PG and UG students, undergrad students are also here, sir. So I think we all benefits from your talk. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure. And I look forward for some exciting ideas coming from your campus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Our chairman, sir. Yeah. Our chairman, sir, I think we can conclude.
Okay. So, yeah, this particular session has been of special interest, I should say. And I can say that none of the issues have been left out by our honorable speaker, which are, I should say, the burning topic, the need of the hour. Because as sir has already said, no, that just producing the paper doesn't work. And if we want to compare, or if we want to know the countries who are highly developed or who are actually giving loan to the whole world, it is not just like that. Actually, they start the idea and reach to the market. So from the idea to the marketing, that is where we still need to go a long way, because we don't have the problem of resources, we don't have problem of the people, but somewhere we have problems which doesn't like allow us to reach to that level. But but I think that with the efforts of all, I think all of us will, when we do our effort, as sir has mentioned, that if it comes from everyone, our own, because somebody else will not do for us. If we think that, yes, I have to do. So with that accumulation, I think we will be able to achieve our goals, and a better future is ahead. So, sir, thank you once again, sir. With that, we conclude this session.
Yeah. Okay. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone, for that wonderful speech and for attending the session. We have this next session invited talk by Professor Tae-Rong Chang and Dr. Monpuya Van Chong, who is a faculty in the Department of Physics, Pachoon University College, will chair the session.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. My name is Lalmon Puyavanchong. I'm one of the colleagues here in Physics Department, Assistant Professor in Pachong University College, one of the co-convener in this conference. So I would like to have a short introduction, a brief introduction about our speaker. First of all, before that one, we are having two speakers for this invited talk in this session today. But unfortunately, Professor Diwakar Tiwari, he will not be able to attend this specific session due to his other important programs. So his talk will be shifted in the afternoon later. So only Dr. Tae-Rong Chang will be our speaker, and so I hope he will be able to take more time. He can have more time for this. So let me have a brief introduction regarding our speaker. Dr. Tae-Rong Chang finished his PhD from National Tsinghua University. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. If I'm wrong, then yeah, sir, you please correct me later on. Okay. And now he's the associate professor in Department of Physics, National Cheng Kung University. He has a lot of experience already as an assistant professor, assistant research scholar, and postdoctoral researcher also. Now he's the associate professor. And he has acted as a visiting scholar 5 times in different parts of the world. And let me mention some places like USA, University of Missouri, National University of Singapore, and Northeastern University, Boston, USA. And he has received a good, precious awards, 4 awards already, like Young Theorist Award, Young Scholar Fellowship, and Young Scholars Innovative and Development Selection Outstanding Award. No need to mention all his presentations, all his publications and all. He has lots of publications, good one. And his expertise includes first principle simulation, ab initio tight binding modeling, topology, symmetry analysis, and Green's function techniques. His primary research interest is focused on searching for novel topological materials and low-dimensional materials, which can be potentially used for next generation spintronics and quantum computations. So today we are very lucky that we are having him in the same platform, and we are going to listen a good talk. His title will be Topological Material, Intrinsic Ferromagnetic Axion Insulator. So before I give him the platform, I would like to mention again that Dr. Tae-Rong Chang, you're having more time because the other speaker is not available, then so you can have more time. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Tae-Rong Chang. The platform is yours, sir.
Okay. Let me screen my screen. Let me share my screen and Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 Good afternoon. I'm Taiyong Zhang from National Chengdu University. First one, I thank Professor Bahadur's invitation, give me an opportunity to share our recent works in this conference. I'm going to talk about topological materials, especially focus on its magnetic phase. Okay, this is the outline of today's talk. Our goal is to achieve a quantum anomaly effect, because the quantum version of anomaly effect is one of feasible platform to realize distributionless current, which could be used to, for example, develop low power spin devices. But what material can realize quantum anomaly effect? This is a big issue. Previous study shows that topological insulator is a suitable candidate. So this is why we have to study topological materials. So in the next, I'll very briefly introduce the key properties of band topology in condensed matter system for the audience who are not in this field. So after we have basic knowledge about the Hall effect and the band topology, in the final part, we'll discuss magnetic topological phase. I will introduce our recent prediction on the first intrinsic ferromagnetic axion insulator, MBT1A13. Okay, this is Hall effect. For a conductor, if we apply an external electric field, for example, along the x direction, and we apply an external magnetic field along the z direction, then we will observe an transverse current along the y direction. And in this panel, we see a longitudinal resistivity, though xx is a constant because it only depends on the detailed material properties. However, the transverse resistivity, though xy, increase when magnetic field increases. Okay, this is the ordinary Hall effect. Now, if we increase the magnetic field larger and larger, and when the field larger than a specific value, we'll see the longitudinal resistivity separate into several discrete peaks. And the transverse resistivity shows an interesting quantized value. This phenomena called a quantum Hall effect because the transverse resistivity is quantized. And the similar effect is an anomalous Hall effect. Anomalous Hall effect. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, you may proceed, sir.
Okay. A similar effect is an anomalous Hall effect. Anomalous Hall effect can be observed in the magnetic material without apply external magnetic field. Okay, and the corresponding quantum version of anomalous Hall effect is a quantum anomalous Hall effect, and this is the goal of our study. Okay, so I have briefly introduced the Hall effect. So in the next, I'll use a band theory point of view to describe the quantum Hall effect. Phenomenologically, there are two observations. Electrons are confined by a strong magnetic field, and electron only can propagate on the edge of the material. Because electron cannot move freely in the bulk region, so the bulk region of quantum Hall can be regarded as an insulator. So we plot a valence band and the conduction band separated by an energy gap. On the edge, electron propagate is restricted in a certain direction, shows a chiral mode. For example, in this panel, electron propagate clockwise. So here we plot an edge state connect valence and conduction band. So this is a band theory point of view to explain the quantum Hall effect. And a similar concept can be used on the quantum anomaly effect if we replace the external magnetic field to the internal magnetization. So you can see this physics picture is very simple, but how to realize this effect in real material is still a big issue. To study the quantum anomaly effect, the most famous model is a Holden model. Professor Duncan Holden, he considered a spatial next nearest neighbor hopping turn, this T2 turn in a graphene honeycomb lattice. This next nearest neighbor T2 turn carry a spatial phase, so which will break the time reversal symmetry and induce the topological phase transition. For example, in this panel, we can see when T2 is small, the system shows a clear insulating gap. However, when T2 larger than a specific value, it shows a topological edge state connect valence and conduction band. However, this T2 turn is too spatial. So how to include this next nearest neighbor hopping turn in the real material is very, very difficult. So 20 years later, theoretical work proposed a new idea. If there is a system, there is a gap, and there is a edge channels connect the valence and the conduction band. And if one channel is spin up, another one is spin down. In this situation, if we apply an external magnetic field or the internal magnetization to open a gap at the Dirac point, quantum anomaly is realized. But again, what material possesses this kind of band structure? Okay, today we know the answer is topological insulator. So in the next, we'll briefly introduce the band topology. Okay, here I will share my view to introduce the band topology in condensed matter physics. Okay, in math, okay, we are used to discussing the topology in real space, and we can recognize the system topology by using the Gauss-Bonnet theorem. Okay, we don't need to go to the detail what is Gauss-Bonnet theorem or something. We only need to know Gauss-Bonnet theorem gives us a G number. G number equals 0 means there's no hole on the object. And G number equal 1 means there's a hole on the object. So the same G number represent the same topology, even their geometry are entirely different. So here is a super famous example. The topology of a coffee cup is the same as the donuts, but different from the pile bone. However, in physics, we are familiar with the band structure. So our topology is in the momentum space. Here is an example. There are three band structures. We can see the band geometry of band structure 1 is very similar to the band structure 2. The band geometry here means the band gap size or the shape of the band. This is geometry of the band structure. So we can see the geometry of band 1 is very similar to the band 2. However, their topology is different. For band structure 2, it's entirely different from the band structure 3. However, their topology is identical. This result seems counterintuitive by using the typical band theory point of view. So let's see why this is so. Okay, let's focus on the band structure 1 first. And here we decompose the band structure into each atomic orbital by using these equations. So we can see the valence band or the conduction band. The valence band is contributed from the B orbital, and the conduction band is mainly contributed from the A orbital. For example, A orbital is a bismuth p orbital, and p orbital is selenium p orbital. And because the valence band or the conduction band is contributed from one species of orbital, so the wave function on this band is well defined everywhere. It means smooth and continue. Okay, for the band structure 2, we can see it's very similar to the band structure 1. Most of conduction band is contributed from the a orbital. However, at this point, you can see it shows a b orbital character. Because a orbital and the b orbital are different elements, so it is impossible to do a continuously deformation that b orbital become a orbital. So this result seems there's a hole on the band structure. So there's a hole on the wave function. This is why the topology of band structure 2 different from the band structure 1, because their whole number are different. And if we compare these two band structure more carefully, we'll see this band structure exchange their orbital character. For example, a orbital move from the conduction band to the valence band, and the b orbital from the valence band to the conduction band. We call the band inversion. Band inversion will create the hole on the wave function on the band structure and induce the topological phase transition. So actually, in single particle frame, if we ignore any many body effect, the topological phase transition must accompany a band inversion process. Okay, similar to the Gauss-Bonnet theorem, more precisely, we can use a mathematical quantity to distinguish topological phase. The terminology is a topological invariant number. Okay, it is a Brianzon integral of the Berry curvature. So if wave function is well defined everywhere, this integral must equal 0. If there is a hole on the wave function, which will provide non-trivial Berry curvature, so this integral gives us a integer number. For example, in condensed matter system, n equals 0 is a topological trivial state, non-zero n is topological non-trivial state. Okay, I have introduced the key properties of band topology. However, it is math. So what is the measurable quantity in experiments? The answer is on the system boundary. Okay, topological phase guarantee possesses gapless boundary state on the system boundary, and this gapless state must connect valence and the conduction band. Okay, for example, we can image when an electron propagates from the topological insulator to a normal insulator, it must experience an band inversion process. And because the evolution of the band structure is a continuously deformation, not a sudden change. So the band gap will become smaller first at the TI site and close at the boundary and reopen, make the band inversion and reopen at the normal insulator site. In addition, the band inversion critical point will occur at the interface of the two materials. This is why the gapless boundary state is the hallmark of the topological phase. Okay, here is an example, typical topological insulator, bismuth selenide. RPS data were from Hassan's group. So in RPS, we can see there are two linear lines around the Fermi level, and there is an electron pocket close to the Fermi level. And this panel is our simulation. Comparing with theory and RPS, we can easily recognize these two linear lines are topological surface state, and this electron pocket is the bottom of bulk conduction band. Now, if we artificially make an band inversion, change the bulk topology, you will see these linear lines disappear. So this is the direct evidence shows that these two linear lines are topological surface states. Okay, here I give a very short summary about the band topology in condensed matter. The first one is a band inversion. Band inversion can induce the topological phase transition. Otherwise, their topology is identical. And mathematically, we can use the topological invariant number to distinguish topological phase. For example, we have a Chen number, D2 index, YD number, and so on. And the final one is a topological phase guarantee persists gapless surface state. And this is the feature that distinguish Ti from a normal initiator or a normal metal. Okay, so I have introduced the Hall effect and the band topology in condensed matter. In this session, we'll discuss magnetic topological phase. Okay, I have mentioned quantum anomalous effect can be realized in the topological initiator by the theoretical prediction. A seminal work published in 2013, Professor Xue Kun's group realized the quantum anomalous effect for the first time by doping the magnetic element chromium into topological insulator bismuth telluride. This panel is their most important result. In this panel, it shows a longitudinal conductivity, this red line, almost equal zero around the Fermi level. And the transverse conductivity, this blue line, shows a quantized value around the Fermi level. So this is the smoking gun. This is the smoking gun of the observation of quantum anomalous effect. So this is a really classical work. However, in this system, the magnetic interaction between the magnetic impurity is very weak. So the transition temperature of quantum anomalous effect in this system also very, very low. You can see only about 30 millikelvin. So there is a very obviously questions. Is it possible to realize quantum anomalous effect in an intrinsic magnetic topological material without doping? In the end of 2019, Chakov group realized a first intrinsic magnetic topological material. They intercalate the Mn layer into a bismuth telluride quantum layer, forming a MBT124 sabital layer. Sabital here means 7. Okay, so it's a 7 layer. And they found the magnetic ground state of this material is anti-ferromagnetic. In addition, their DFT calculation predict the topological phase of this new material is anti-ferromagnetic topological insulator, AFNTI. This is their RPS on 001 plane. It shows a clear massive Dirac gap. And this result consists with their DFT prediction. So MBT1A13 is a first intrinsic topological magnetic topological material. However, Professor Liu Chang's group in the same year, Professor Liu Chang's group proposed an upside result. Their RPS shows a gapless surface state. So Professor Liu Chang addressed the surface spin disorder may destroy this massive Dirac gap. So whether there is a gap on the surface, this issue is still under debate. Anyway, in the early of 2020, Zhang Yuanpo's group observed a quantum Hall effect in a 25-layer MBT124 slab model under 12 Tesla external magnetic field. So so far, scientists has already realized a magnetic topological material. However, the ground state is anti-ferromagnetic. So we still need to apply an external magnetic field to flip the spin from AFM to the FN state. So we have not realized the quantum anomalous effect until we find the ferromagnetic topological materials. Last year, my collaborator, Professor Nini from UCLA, she found she can systematically reduce the spin flipping energy when she integrates bismuth telluride quantum layer between two MBT sabital layer. For example, for the MBT 124 system, she need to apply 12 Tesla external magnetic field to flip the spin from the AFN state to the ferromagnetic FM state. However, for the 147 and 1610 system, the spin flipping energy reduced to about only 0.2 Tesla. And when she integrates 3 quantum layers between 2 sabital layers, the magnetic ground state transfer from the AFM to the FN state. So this new material, MBT 1A13, has high possibility to being a ferromagnetic topological materials. So here are some of our experimental results. This is TEM. It clearly shows 2 MBT sabital layer sandwich 3 bismuth telluride quantum layer. And the hysteresis loop demonstrate a ferromagnetic ground state, and the spin orientation is along the Z direction. Okay, to demonstrate the topological phase, here we perform the first principle calculation. This one is our bulk band structure calculation of the bismuth telluride, MBT 1A13. And our calculation shows the MND orbital, this red dot is far away from the Fermi level. Okay, this is good news because it means MND orbital only provides the Zeeman field to break the time reversal symmetry in the system, but do not affect the original band structure of bismuth telluride around the Fermi level very much. So if we running around the Fermi level, we can see a clear spin splitting and the clear band inversion features. The red and blue dot indicate the TE and the BI p orbitals. So it shows clear band inversion feature. So in the next, we'll calculate the topological invariant number to determine the topological ground state of MBT 1A13. And because the MBT 1A13 break the time reversal symmetry, so here we calculate the Chen number. However, our calculation shows Chen number equals 0. This result puzzled us quite a bit at that time because this means band inversion but topological trivial. Okay. In order to solve this problem, we restudy the band structure and the band inversion more carefully. We theoretically theoretically tune the strength of spin coupling from weak to strong and track the evolution of band structure step by step. Okay, the color here means the red one means the BI orbital and the blue is the TE orbital. So when we tune the spin orbital coupling strength from weak to strong, we find the 2 BI orbital move from the conduction band to the valence band, and the 2 TE orbital move from the valence band to the conduction band. It means the band inversion occurs twice at the gamma point. which is completely distinct from the normal TI that Bain inversion only occur once at gamma point. So this feature is not ordinary Bain inversion. This is a double Bain inversion. And we notice this feature is very similar to the so-called higher order TI. Even higher order TI is a non-magnetic system. However, this finding implies that the topological invariant number may be Z4, not a Chen number. So after literature search, we found the definition of Z4 in the magnetic system. Z4 equal 1 and 3 indicate the wire phase or the nodal line semi-metal. And Z4 equal 2 correspond to an insulating phase with quantized magneto-electric effect, or so-called axion insulator. So very surprising, we predict an first intrinsic ferromagnetic axion insulator, although at first we want to search a material with a quantum anomalous effect. Okay, maybe some audience are not familiar with the axion. So here, let me spend 2 minutes to introduce what is axion. Axion is an hypothetical elementary particle to solve the strong CP violation problem in quantum chromodynamics in high energy physics. And Professor Wilczek, he found the Lagrangian of axion can be written in an E dot B magneto electric coupling term with a theta vacuum. And the vector kappa is from the fine structure constant. So in the axion field, Maxwell equation will be modified. You can see there is an additional charge and the current term in the Maxwell equation. In condensed matter, we can extend the free energy to the E dot B term. So in this situation, we will see the polarization can be induced by the magnetic field, not only the electric field in the textbook. And the magnetization can be induced by the electric field. In addition, this E dot B term share the same factor alpha into the polarization and magnetization. So this is the famous magneto-electric effect in the solid state physics. Now if we assume an isotropic ME coupling, this factor alpha can be separated into 2 terms. Because the first one is a traceless, so we only focus on the second terms. Coincidence, we found the mathematical form of the second terms is exactly the same as the axion Lagrangian in the high energy physics, except this theta is not quantized here. However, theta is quantized in the high energy physics. However, in an insulating system, this theta can be expressed by an second term number or the axion coupling. So under spatial inversion symmetry, theta takes 0 or pi. So theta equal 0 is normal insulator, and the theta equal pi is axion insulator. Okay, so far I have briefly introduced the axion. So for the experimental observation, we expect there are 2 observed quantities. The first one is a gapped surface state for the all system terminations, and the second one in the axion is a half integer surface hole conductivity, and this 0.5 surface hole conductivity is the unique feature of the axion insulator. Okay. So we expect we'll see the gap for example, if our system is a qubit system, we expect we will observe a gapped surface state for all our surface, and this gap provides 0.5 anomalous hole connectivity. Okay, so let's check the first observation, surface Dirac gap. I've mentioned the Mn d orbital in the MBT113 is far away from the Fermi level. So the band structure of the MBT113 can be roughly regarded as the original Bismuth telluride plus an Zeeman field. So the topological surface state of the Bismuth telluride will open a gap due to the time reversal symmetry breaking by the internal magnetization provided by the Mn element. So this panel, this second panel is our RPS observation for all different terminations I shows here. However, in RPS, it seems there is no gap. This is because the exchange field in MBT113 propagate to the surface is very small. So the gap is smaller than the resolution of the RPS. And if we, and the third panel is our DFT spatial wave simulation. Based on our DFT calculation, if we zoom in around the Dirac point here and here, I label here, we'll see a super small gap. Okay, so we prove our first observations. And second, to review the half quantized surface anomalous hole connectivity, we construct a slab model and calculate the surface anomalous hole connectivity for each atomic layers. And this panel shows anomalous hole connectivity of each atomic layer. And we see the main contribution of the anomalous hole connectivity comes from the top and the bottom surface, and the connectivity decrease very weak in the bulk region. And this panel is the integral of the anomalous hole connectivity from the bottom to the top surface. And we see the connectivity achieves 0.5 when we include about topmost 10 layers from the bottom surface. And we found the bottom surface and the top surface contributed 1/2 of anomalous hole connectivity. So combined with the surface Dirac gap and 0.5 surface anomalous hole connectivity, our calculation demonstrate this new material MBT113 is indeed an Axiom insulator. Okay, so this is a summary of today's talk. At first, we want to search a material with a quantum anomalous effect. However, we predict MBT113 is an first intrinsic ferromagnetic Axiom insulator. Our theory provides some theoretical evidence. For example, band inversion, topological invariant number Z2 equal to surface Dirac gap, as well as half integer surface anomalous hole connectivity. Okay, I thank all the collaborators and thank Nini provide her sample and RPS data from the Colorado Boulder. And okay, and I especially thank my 2 PhD students because you can see most of evidence about the band topology in this study is from the theory. So without their super hard work, it is impossible to complete this work by myself. So I especially thank them here. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Chang. We can say it's a nice and clear presentation. So I would like to request the audience if we are having any questions and queries. Any questions from the audience? Please unmute.
I have one question, but I couldn't find what to raise hand here. So I hope that I don't mind. Actually, you mentioned the half quantized conductivity, right? So I'm just, although you explained, but I'm quite confused. I would like, can you explain a little more why we are expecting half in case of axion insulators?
Okay, sure. We can see these equations. Okay. This is a surface. This one is a surface anomalous conductivity.
Right.
At the interface of two systems, they have a different topology. So you can see this theta is a second number here. Okay. So if we combine a axion insulator to a normal insulator or to the vacuum, if theta 1 is a axion insulator, we can get this theta 1 is pi, and if theta 2 from the normal insulator, it should be 0, right? So
yeah.
So we can get the half integer surface anomalous conductivity.
I see. So the seeding of this question is starting from the band inversion. Basically, I'm just trying to understand from there. So we are here already have a double band inversion in the bulk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So isn't this affecting the surface conductivity much here? The double band inversion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry if this question is not clear, but I'm just trying to understand like how this double band inversion is affecting this surface anomalous Hall conductivity.
Okay. The answer is actually for a typical topological insulator, it still have I mean surface anomalous conductivity by the definition. However, because for the typical TI, there is no surface gap. It's a Dirac surface state. So this Dirac surface state will provide additional phase to cancel the phase pi from the theta 1 from the axion. So the surface anomalous conductivity will become 0 in the normal TI. So the effect of the double band inversion is to open a gap at this surface state, and then we can remove this additional phase, only remain the phase from the axion insulator, and then we can get a 0.5 surface anomalous conductivity.
Okay, thank you. That answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So there is one question in the chat. Do you apply some aspects of M theory in your research? And is it a necessity to apply QFT in your research to get your desired results?
Sorry. Can you say again? I'm not listening clear. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the chat yourself, sir?
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay. I will read it out.
Okay.
Do you apply some aspects of M theory in your research?
Oh. Okay. Actually, we are still study the condensed matter. We just find the same mathematical form comparatively with the high energy physics, and I'm not sure, but I expect the low energy quasi-particle may be very similar behavior, but we have not direct evidence right now. So even we call this is axion insulator, but we never say we find the axion in the high energy physics. It's just a low energy excitation, and we expect the field behavior will be very similar.
Okay. And another question here is that, is it a necessity to apply QFT in your research to get your desired results?
Oh, good question. I think this is a different point of view. Yeah, because my major is band theory, so we along this way from the solid state physics. But this expert, Edwin Wheaton, he wrote some paper, and he from the topological field theory from a high energy point of view to study the topological materials. So we have a different way, but and I expect we can see different phenomena.
Okay, I hope that answered the question. The question comes from Mr. Ding Liana Vansong. And if you have another queries, you can unmute yourself, because Dr. Chang may not be able to read the message. So, yeah.
There is a new message about the
cannot. Can you read that one? Not possible.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, okay. Okay. Maybe I can. So main series content. I want whether it's necessary to apply or not. Yeah. As I say, I think it's a different point of view. Yeah. I don't know the M theory actually, so I follow the way of the condensator. But I believe if somebody is an expert for the M theory, he may get different or more interesting result from the way of the M theory. Yeah, this is my answer. Yeah.
Okay. Any other queries? Any other discussion or comments from anyone? Okay. We will not waste much of our time. I think maybe it's a bit new for many of us regarding this topic. Anyway, we are being enlightened by Dr. Terong Chang with his talk regarding his works and their beautiful findings. So we will conclude our session for this first session today. But before that, I will have some announcement. And the next session will be starting at 2 p.m. India Standard Time. That is just 1 hour before this one. We will have 1 hour break, and we will have 2 invited talks. The first one will be from Professor Mohan L. Verma, Head Department of Physics, Sri Shankaracharya, Technical Campus, Bhilai, India. His title will be Magnetic Nanoparticles Future Aspects. And after that, we will listen a presentation from Dr. Kulwinder Kaur, Department of Applied Sciences, Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, India. The title will be Computational Design of 2D and 3D Thermoelectric Materials and Their Applications. So after that, we'll have another session. So I would like to once again thanks Dr. Terong Chang for giving us your precious moment, precious time, and share us your wonderful research findings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
With that, I would like to conclude the session for the time being. After 1 hour, we will see each other again. Thank you so much, everyone.